Alright, I'm about to show you how to make some really good cabbage rolls. These are the best I've ever had. I grew up eating my mom's and they were great. Back then, they were the best I ever had. And then my wife cooked some cabbage rolls and they were better than my mom's. So, and I was like, what's the secret ingredient? You know, what's so special? What do you use? And this blew my mind because I was like, no way, it's bullshit. Wife uses Campbell's tomato soup. Mom always made a kind of like a dressing, like a Italian spaghetti sauce. Most people use spaghetti sauce, but they come out really good with that. Check his recipe out. See how you like it. Let me know. If you got a big pot full of water, you could drop this whole thing in there. I'm gonna cut this core out. I'm gonna pull leaves off, and I'm just gonna put them in a pot of hot water. And I'm also gonna use some Napa cabbage because you know, you can do it both ways. If they're out of this regular cabbage, you can always get a head of Napa. These are a little easier to work with. You just cut it there and soak a couple leaves in and some hot water. I'm gonna get a pot of boiling water. I'm gonna finish coring this. I'm sure you know how to core something. You don't need to watch me do it, but like that. Peel leaves off. I'll show you in a second. All right, I got a pot of water now. I'm gonna peel some leaves off this. They didn't have no bigger heads of cabbage. I normally like a bigger head of cabbage because you get a lot more bigger leaves. This was all they had. That's why, part of the reason why I got the Napa too. You can peel it. Man, it just fucking sucks. The fuck, Kroger's, get some bigger cabbage. Let's see something. I'm soaking that whole motherfucker like I would in a big pot. They'll come off, you know, better. Set that aside. Let's see what's up with this. Alright, them aren't bad. They're usually longer and skinnier. They're not like traditional mom cabbage rolls. But it's good cabbage. They'll come out alright. While you're doing all this, you want to get 2 cups of rice cooking. Now you only need about 1, but I always cook 2 just in case some sticks to the bottom. And if you want to put some in the sauce, that's fine too. I'm gonna go ahead and open up all these cans and start mixing my meat. I'll show you what meat ratio we use. Most people use a ratio of 1/3 sausage to 3 parts hamburger, kind of like meatballs. It's the same when you make meatballs. We use she uses a little more sausage, so we're going to use 3 pounds of sausage, or 3 pounds of hamburger, and we're going to use 1.5 pounds of sausage. We use Jimmy Dean for this. You can use whatever you like. We really like Jimmy Dean. When we make gravy, we use Bob Evans. Some people like Tennessee Pride. Use whatever kind you like. Cut this one in half. Use half of one. Set that over here. Use that for something else later. like a big fucking turd, don't it? Right. Make sure you rotate this every once in a while. You want it to get equally cooked. I'm just doing this to soften it, so it ain't so. You're partially cooking it so that when you're eating cabbage rolls, you're not chewing on that cabbage for an hour and a half, because it'll cook everything else, and it takes longer to cook this cabbage, so you kind of pre-cook it halfway. And plus it helps to soften up the leaves, pull the leaves off, roll up the cabbage rolls. But while we're waiting on this, back to this here, I'm doing something my wife don't usually do. I'm adding onion. I got half a finely chopped onion that I'm going to add to this. I got half a finely chopped onion I'm going to add it over here for the sauce. 2 eggs. Now we got to get some rice. I'll have some rice in just a second. One thing about sauerkraut is, don't ever use sauerkraut out of a metal can because it tastes like shit. Get your sauerkraut in a bag or a glass jar. If you don't like sauerkraut, it's probably because you ate it out of a metal can and it tasted like rusty metal. I always get this. I usually get the glass jars, but they didn't have none. So bag's the next best thing. That's a trick. And sometimes people don't even add that. I gotta add it. I like sauerkraut. You can make this without sauerkraut. Keep that in mind. Sometimes my wife don't even use it because she's not a big fan of sauerkraut. She just likes the cabbage rolls. But these are good. Trust me. Try them out. So use a cup to a cup and a half of cooked rice. You could use 2 if you really want. You could also put some of that rice in here in the sauce. Once you have all that together, you want to mix this up really good. Punch it. Punch that motherfucker like it owes you money. Alright, I forgot to put some spices in here. Black pepper. Put some black pepper in here. Salt. And this is crazy, especially when she told me. I had no idea. She puts a little cumin in there. You'd never notice, but they're good. Stir that back in. I think that cabbage is about ready to come out. We'll put the napa in. So you want a bowl of cold water. You want to put your cabbage in that cold water. Look at it now. Put you some napa in there. So we're going to go ahead and put all our sauce in here. I will. Oops. One thing you don't have to do also is diced tomatoes. I like it in mine, so I'm gonna add a can. You can add 2 or 3 cans if you really want. Fill both these up with water and dump them in here. That basically makes your sauce, besides the sauerkraut. Salt and pepper this. I like a lot of sauerkraut. So I might half this now. I might the other half after the cabbage rolls are in there. And if you don't like cabbage that much, you can make like a cabbage roll casserole. Just put hunks of meat, or you could put this in there chopped up. And if you don't like it that greasy, greasy is what makes it good probably. You can cook this, drain all the grease off of it, then put it in the pot. This is a crock pot. That's what we want. I wish it was a bigger head of cabbage though. Some are really small leaves. Come back to you when all this cabbage is done and we're rolling the cabbage rolls. So you want to peel some leaves off. Get this other bowl. Just peel some leaves. Get them ready for the cabbage rolls. Basically undressing it. Undressing the cabbage. Like that. Alright, do that with the whole thing. These Napa leaves are already ready to go. Might have to wring some of the water out of them. So, once you get your leaves, we'll get your roll. And roll it over best you can. And just put it in a pot. Very simple, very easy. You can make small ones. I like big cabbage rolls. So, right there. And that's it. I'm sure there's somebody out there that has a better technique than I do, but I'm not sure they have a better recipe because this shit's pretty damn good. Some people might use toothpicks. I don't do that. You might wind up choking to death. Forget about one. See, we can't get a Napa cabbage roll. So we would basically like that. I'm gonna double it up, make it thick Napa cabbage roll. I got a daughter that loves cabbage. She'd like that one there. You don't have to get your Napa as soggy as mine, but if you look, this white part, it could be a chewy son of a bitch, you know? So I like to get it good and cooked. There you go. Well, I like the good old-fashioned American traditional cabbage. I'll come back to you when I put them in the pot. Alright, that's all the cabbage rolls I'm rolling. It kind of pisses me off that I had such a small head of cabbage. The rest of this, I'm going to make without cabbage. And what little breaks off of these little meatballs is going to go into the sauce to make the sauce meaty. I like to have hamburger in my sauce. So, or, you know, cabbage roll, burger, whatever you want to call it. Put this on bottom. Let's make the sauce meatier. You got a couple alright ones. And shove them down to the bottom. Especially the wider ones. You want the wider looking ones. You can tell they need cooked more to be soft. These ones like this could go on top. Might have to get another pot. Sometimes I just make cabbage roll casserole. Half the time I like it better. I just chop my cabbage up and put it in there. Chop everything up. I get to drain all the grease off the meat. See if we could fit them. Come on, one more. It's gonna make it. Look at that. That's gonna be fucking awesome. Alright, this is the finished product. I really wish I could have made them bigger, but that's what they look like done. Next time I'll get a bigger head of cabbage and put a pile of mashed potatoes right there. A little cooked sauerkraut with bacon bits in it. That'd be the shit. Now my video at the beginning, I cut my face off. My bad. I won't let that happen again, but you still get the recipe.